May we see your invitation?
Odd groups got left, even groups got right.
Master, I hope I served you well.
More dogs, more dogs.
Too soon.
Oof, we have so much to cover in this video today. If it's your first time on the channel, I would like to warmly welcome you to the channel. This is Jasper, and today we're going to be going over everything that has been covered on day 1 and day 2 of Blizzcon concerning the Burning Crusade Classic. Alright, so I've decided to cluster a lot of the information together in groups relative to the topics that they were covering and that they share. Therefore, there's going to be different sections of the video. For this first section, we're going to be looking at the implementation of TBC Classic, the release, the movement of players, decisions that will need to be made by the player base, and then, of course, the purchasable features added with TBC Classic. And for the second section of the video, we're going to be looking at all the different changes that will be coming to TBC Classic. We're going to be looking at the release changes, balancing PvP and PvE changes, and of course quality of life changes that will be added to the game. And then of course for the third section, it's going to be a conclusion and kind of wrap up on everything, and then of course my final thoughts towards TBC Classic and how it was released. Alright, and with our table of contents out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Alright, so implementation. This data that I'm about to share with you is gathered from day 1 and day 2 of BlizzCon. Day 1, of course, being the sit-down discussional panel with the developers, and then of course day 2 is the Q&A session that they had with the audience members at BlizzCon. So when we are looking at how this is going to be implemented, it is going to all start off with a pre-patch. This is going to be the initial stone that is going to cause a landslide, moving us into the Burning Crusade. And the reason for this pre-patch being so important is simply because of what it is going to bring. So the morning, night, or evening, whatever time it'll be for you when the servers do go down, there will be a snapshot taken across all servers and all characters. This snapshot is going to take a look at your items, your gold, items in the bank, friends list, etc., and it's going to make a copy of them that is stored in the database. Whenever you log in the next time, or that morning of the pre-patch being launched, you are going to be greeted with a few different prompts. Most likely on the character select screen, you're going to have a prompt for each toon, and it's going to ask whether you want this toon to progress into the TBC era, or if you would like for this toon to be selected to stay within the classic era. These decisions, from what I gathered from the Q&A and both from the discussional panel, are going to be permanent. The big difference now is, from what they mentioned, the servers and the clients that we're playing on right now are going to be the TBC progression servers. So if you're going to play both, perhaps, you will probably have to download another client to be able to access and play all those tunes that are sent over to the classic era content. However, there is also a third option available to players. This third option includes paying a small fee, that at which has not been released or even really touched on. There will just be a small payment that the player can make, and this will copy your tune onto both the classic era and then of course to the TBC era clients. Aside from all the nice things that the pre-patch will have to offer, there's a unique opportunity this time around that was announced at BlizzCon, and this opportunity is that of having early access to the Blood Elf and the Draenei. This is going to be really nice since a lot of us are going to be able to kind of level up and have some time to enjoy the leveling process and characters with our friends and guildmates. That way, the day that the Dark Portal does decide to open, we will be ready to go and hopefully have enough gear to get started with some of those TBC dungeons. Alright, so content, how can we expect to see it? From the day 1 discussion with the developers, they talked about how they wanted to release the content in separate phases. There's a graph up here for you to look at now. In addition to this, they also talked about how they wanted to make sure that the dungeons were challenging and to not release everything on the final patch. Therefore, we can probably expect to see a lot of this released with a patch 2.4. That is a number that has been thrown around quite often, and basically this means that we are going to get to see a lot of these bosses, a lot of the content, without the nerfs implemented. So it is going to make it a little bit more challenging, but in my opinion, for the skill set that we have today among the player base, this is going to really make some aspects of the Burning Crusade a little bit more difficult and more exciting, I guess, for us. So the last big thing that they mentioned in terms of implementing the TBC Classic servers are going to be that of an in-game purchase. This in-game purchase, of course, is the level 58 character boost. So this is only going to be available 1 per account. In addition to this, this character is going to have Dungeon Blues, there's going to be no professions, but you cannot use it on the Draenei or the Blood Elf races. Therefore, if you'd like to level a Draenei or a Blood Elf, you'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, so there are so many different changes that we are going to be seeing in the Burning Crusade. Of course, one of the biggest ones being the Blood Elves being released at the pre-patch, but Day 1 and Day 2 of BlizzCon has given us a lot of insight into what we can expect to see change as of BlizzCon. And of course, there's probably going to be extra things that will be changed, but here's what we know of as of right now. So I've decided to clump together PvE and PvP content simply because all the changes that they've mentioned so far at BlizzCon are going to affect both sides of the TBC gameplay. So spell batching, it's gone. Which of course this isn't too surprising. The developers mentioned how in the beginning it seemed like a fun idea, but towards the later ends of Classic it started to create more issues than it did solve, so that has been changed. Another big change that is going to happen that's going to affect both PvE and PvP content is the addition of Paladin seals being given to both factions. The Alliance will finally get access to Seal of Blood, and the Horde will get access to Seal of Vengeance. How this is going to work is that depending on which faction you choose, you'll get your normal seals at level 64, but upon reaching level 70, you will have access and can train the seal that was originally from the opposite side. So moving along with PvP, we're going to be looking at the arena. So the arena is going to be very interesting with how they want to change it. So you will still have the option of 2v2, 3v3, or 5v5. However, on the roster, you'll not be limited to just the 2 people, 3 people, or 5 people on your roster. You will have double slots. So if you have a 2v2 team, for example, you will have 4 slots on your roster. This is to allow room for error in case your partner is unable to make it. You will have 2 other people that can hop in and take that spot. In addition to this, there will be a modern matchmaking algorithm that will be implemented into the queuing system. This is going to be implemented, from what the developers say, to help match players with equally skilled opponents and also help keep the queue times for players as low as they can. My mouth is dry from just talking about all this content and information that they gave to us the past 2 days. I guess let's go ahead and start wrapping up the video, man. There's so many different things to cover, to talk about, to deep dive into. I'm not going to do that in this video because I just wanted to focus on everything that we found out during the past 2 days at BlizzCon. It is insane to think that the private server community was able to pull this off. Just looking at it, just because I've been playing Classic for the past almost 5 years now. I spent 3 years on the private servers, and then it's almost been 2 years now for Classic. Like, what the hell? That's just insane to think about. And you know, like, for anyone that played on the private servers or supported the private servers, guys, we finally did it. The Day 1 discussion with the producers, they were talking about how now people will have access to the classic version of WoW and to the TBC classic version until the end of time. This is a big milestone for the private server community. We finally have created something that we all can hold on to and we can cherish for the rest of our lives, and it's just a phenomenal feeling, and I'm so proud of you guys. I hope you enjoyed BlizzCon. BlizzCon 2021 was actually better than I thought. The digital format was actually pretty clean. It was pretty nice. I liked having the separate channels that I could go to whenever it finished or whether it was going live, just so I can check out what was going to be talked about. It had a schedule, and it was pretty neat, and there's a lot of cool things that they announced at BlizzCon. Of course, the focus of this channel is probably going to be just focused on the TBC Classic, but until we get more information, you guys, expect some more videos soon. I'm going to be going over more content related towards Paladin tanking now that we know for sure that the Burning Crusade is coming. So I'm going to try to get all of you Paladins out there set up and ready to go. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, just let me know down below. And I will see you guys soon in the next one. Peace.